everyone, welcome to the OklaRoots YouTube channel. In today's tutorial, we will be unboxing and making an embroidery quilt block from the Perfectly Pieced box for April, and this comes to us from Me Time Delivered. Now, if you haven't already heard about the subscription box, you have two options. You can get the digital file or the digital file and the goodie box, which is, obviously, I always am going to opt for the goodie box. Every month, you're going to get a new pattern, and it is a quilt block that you make on your embroidery machine, which it seems, I know some people are like, but why? In some of the blocks, you'll see why. They're so intricate, they're so small. It would be very difficult, if not impossible, to do it on your sewing machine. And it's just, if you have an embroidery machine, it's just easier. And they come together so cute. So today, I'm going to be unboxing what's in here. I have not looked yet. I have already looked at the file, though, and I made the coolest project out of it. I did a project straight from the project files that are included in this month's box. Wait till you guys see. So every month there are 4 different size options for the blocks: 2-inch, 4-inch, 6-inch, 8-inch. They are squares. I am using a Brother PE 800, which means I can only do the 2-inch or 4-inch size blocks. Also, they have projects for each block size. And normally I kind of come up with my own project to do with that block, but this month I chose the 4-inch block, and the project that went with it was so good, I decided to just go ahead and make it. Now, I have not opened the box yet, so I did not use the material that's in the box, which the project is designed to be used with that material. So I used my own material, but I absolutely love this, you guys. This is the project that goes with the 4-inch blocks this month. It is so stinking cute. It is a little basket. So you see this, there's 2 blocks here, and then 2 blocks on each side, and then 4 blocks on the bottom, and then you have a lining, and you have these little handles. It is so stinking cute, you guys. I love this little basket so much. It's very easy to put together. I'm not going to be making the basket in the tutorial today because today really is just about unboxing the box and building the quilt block. However, if you're interested in just a quick tutorial going over how to make this, let me know down in the comments below and we can whip one up real quick. So I don't know if you can see. Let's get a little closer. So you can see the block this month. Each one of these is its own block. They're just tilted at an angle, but we have these little rectangles and then we have these corner points. It comes together really cute. It is a fun block to use scraps with. And that's what I did. I just used a whole bunch of fun, colorful scraps and then the super fun lining. I highly encourage you to make this one. I do. I think you should make the 4-inch blocks, and I think you should put this together. You do have to, it takes a while to put together all the blocks and everything. This is like a half-day project, including the block building and everything. Putting together a basket is very quick, though. So thank you so much to Me Time Delivered for sponsoring today's video. If you haven't already checked them out, you should go ahead and do that. If you have an embroidery machine, they are definitely a brand you want to be taking a look at. We have these quilt blocks every month. There is a Christmas free lace standing village you can make every month, which is so cool. I'm slowly working on those. I am behind. I promise I will get back on it. And then they also have twice a year the Bella box, which is like a jam-packed box full of goodies. I do believe we have one coming soon. I think we have the spring box coming soon. I am so excited to see it. I'm so excited to see the projects in it. If you're new to the OklaRoots YouTube channel, please consider clicking subscribe down below. If at any point you like this video, please give it a like. Any questions, comments, shout-outs, leave them down in the comment section. I haven't actually looked at what the other projects are for the other block sizes, so I need to go do that. But if you want to see a tutorial, a quick one, over how to make this adorable basket with these quilt blocks, just let me know and I can whip up some more quilt blocks. Maybe I'll continue using whatever we start today, and then we can do another quick tutorial just going over this basket because, guys, this is so stinking cute, but it is very simple. All right, guys, let's unbox this month's goodie box and build a quilt block. Alrighty, so opening up this beautiful orange box. Does anybody else keep their boxes? I keep every single one of these boxes. They're just so sturdy and so cute. I actually use them to store bits of acrylic and things like that we're working on for the shop, but I love it. Anyways, we have this beautiful orange box for April. Let's flip this over and see what's inside. Ooh, we've got some pretty fabrics with strawberries. Oh, that's gonna be exciting. So this just kind of runs down all the information for the box this month. Okay, every month you're going to get a spool of embroidery thread. This is from Glide. I absolutely love these. There's a different color every single month. Some of them are bright, some of them are more neutral. This looks like a neutral one. So if you're just building your embroidery thread stash, this is a great box because you don't need every single color under the rainbow right now, so you can slowly add to your stash these different colors. I love that. Next, we have the Kimberbell paper tape, which is my favorite. I love this tape. I use this all the time. I use this for bags, for quilting, for embroidery, for everything. So very happy about that. And now let's look at my favorite part, the fabric. Oh, it looks so springtime and yummy, doesn't it? Let's see, what does it say on the back this time? When hooping a quilt sandwich, loosen your hoop as much as possible. If needed, ask a second person to hold down the hoop while you tighten the screws. Well, that's interesting. Okay, that's a good tip. So now let's look at the fabric. Strawberries. Guys, I love strawberries. I mean, I love eating them, but I really love looking at them too. They're really pretty. So we have this. Ooh, this is a beautiful red with the polka dots. Oh, I like the little swirly whirlies on this. That's cute. And some green. Hey, I love this. There's lots of different colors. And blue, this is fantastic. Normally we get kind of like the same colors, but this is a bunch of different ones. And then more of the other ones here, so you can use this for the lining of the basket for other projects. So you always have different cut sizes here. Some are kind of more meant for small parts of the quilt block. Some are meant for bigger projects. I love that because you can do whatever you want with this and then use some of your own fabric as well to make it really unique. And then you're gonna have your printout for the quilt block. I love this because I don't always have my laptop or my tablet next to me, so I can just lay this down and I can put a movie on somewhere and I can just go through this without having to kind of keep looking at my screen, which I love. So here are some of the other things I'll be using today. I have a piece of batting. Batting is really important. You're making these little quilt as you go quilt blocks. So a piece of batting is going to be useful. The cut size of this depends on the cut size of your block. Next, I have my hoop. I'm using a hoop that can fit up to a 5" by 7" design. So that's going to be great for today's block because while the finished size of the block is 4" by 4", that is including a seam allowance. So the actual finished size is 4.5 by 4.5 inches, and then when you sew it into a project, what you will see is 4" by 4". So you need a hoop size that's going to be big enough for 4.5 by 4.5 inches of stitching. Next are my handy dandy embroidery scissors. I always use these. You're going to use these a lot. This is very helpful with the project today. And then I have the Kimberbell Ultra Light Mesh Cutaway Stabilizer, which is perfect for these quilt blocks. It's lightweight, but it doesn't rip really easily, so you can really kind of mush it around, pull it, stitch on it a lot, and it's not going to cause any damage to the stabilizer. A small iron. I love this little Cricut iron. These irons are fantastic for these little quilt blocks because you do need to be able to iron inside the hoop. So if you have a really large iron, it's not going to work. You need to be able to iron inside the hoop. And then finally, I have my Brother PE800, which is my go-to embroidery machine. If you have a multi-needle that can do big projects, that's great too. But for me, I just pull this out every time I have an embroidery project and then I can tuck it away. It's very small, easy to use, affordable, in my opinion, a great starter machine. I have a whole video going over unboxing this. If you want to check it out, I have it linked down below. So first things first, we have to design our block. So I'm going to get these smaller cuts of material. And there are 4 different fabrics in this block. So let's see, I'm going to start with my corners. I want my corners to be red. I like the corners, there's top left, bottom right corners to be red. And then I think I'm going to have my side pieces be the strawberry. And then I'm going to have the interchanging inside options be the white and the green. So let's see, this is going to be for pieces 1 and 3. This will be for pieces 2 and 4. 5 and 6 will be my strawberries. And finally, pieces 7 and 8 will be these little red bits over here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this down. I'll be using the cut sizes that are on the chart for the 4" by 4" block. Alright, so I have all my pieces cut out. I have my batting ready to go. I have my spool of thread already loaded. So now I just have to prep the hoop. So I'm going to lay out my stabilizer. And then I like to grab the outer hoop and lay that on top of it. And then grab a rotary cutter and just cut it down. You want it to be a little bit bigger than your outer hoop. And then we can just take the outer hoop, lay it up, put the stabilizer on top of it, grab the inner hoop, and just tuck that right in there. Make sure to pull on your stabilizer a little bit to make sure it's all nice and taut. There we go. And then just screw the hoop so it's nice and tight. Alright, so once you have your digital file all loaded up on your embroidery machine and ready to go, take your hoop and just insert it into the machine with no material on it, just the stabilizer. And now this first step is going to be stitching down an outline for the batting. Next, take your batting and lay it over that stitched outline, making sure you cover all of the stitching, and then run the second step, which is going to be tacking down that batting. Once that's tacked down, remove the hoop from the machine, but don't remove anything from the hoop. And now just lift up on these outer edges of your batting and cut them down. So we're cutting close to the stitching, but don't worry about cutting right next to the stitching. You just want to cut close to it. If it's a little sloppy, a little jagged, that's fine. Once you have that cleaned up, put the hoop back in the machine, and the next step is going to stitch down placement lines for all of our fabric. Once you have those stitch lines, grab fabric piece 1, and you're going to lay it right side up. This is the only one that is placed right side up. You're gonna lay it right side up, and you're going to cover this bottom rectangle here. So you're gonna cover the top lines of this bottom rectangle all the way down to the very bottom stitch line. So that's off the batting. So just make sure you're completely covering that entire rectangle. If you want to use the Kimberbell tape here to hold it down, go ahead and do that. You can easily stitch over this tape and pull it out. It's not going to cause any problems. But once you have that piece of fabric laying on top of the box, go ahead and stitch down the next step, which is going to be placement for pattern piece number 2. If you have a good amount of overhang above that stitch line you just made, go ahead and grab your scissors and trim it down. I don't really have much, so I'm just going to leave it. So then we're going to grab pattern piece number 2, and we're going to lay this right side down. I'm going to give mine a little press because it is crinkly. So we're going to lay this right side down right on top of pattern piece 1, and you're going to line up the long edge with that stitch line. So just line them up together. Make sure the sides are lined up as well. And now we're going to stitch down pattern piece 2. Now flip up pattern piece 2 so it's right side up. And I always like to finger press it a little bit first. And then I'm going to grab my little iron, and I'm going to give it a quick press. It doesn't have to be for very long, just very quick. Now put your hoop back in the machine, and we're going to stitch down placement for pattern piece 3. Remove the hoop from the machine, and any overhanging fabric, so excess fabric that's above that stitch line, we want to trim that down. So I'm just going to lift it up with my fingers and cut with my scissors. There we go. Now we're going to take pattern piece number 3, and we're going to lay that right side down, lining up the long edge with that stitch line, and also lining up the short edges with the sides over here. If you have a wrinkle or two, go ahead and press them down. Once again, you can use tape if that's easiest. And now let's stitch down pattern piece 3. Now let's lift up pattern piece 3. Always finger press lightly with your fingers, and then grab your little iron and press it down. There we go. Now put the hoop back in the machine, and we're going to stitch down placement for pattern piece 4. Once again, we're going to lift up the fabric that's over on top of that stitch line, and we're just going to trim that down. And then grab your pattern piece 4 and lay that right side down on top of number 3, lining up the long edge with the stitches. And now let's stitch down pattern piece 4. Now let's lift up pattern piece 4 and then press down that seam. There we go. Looking cute. So now put your hoop back in the machine and stitch down placement for pattern piece number 5. Now anything that's to the left of that stitch line, so this little bit over here, trim that down. If you just have a little bit, you don't really have to worry about it, but leaving it does leave bulk. So I just kind of shave it down as much as I can. So now grab your pattern piece number 5 and lay that right side down so it's on top of the previous fabric, and the long edge is lined up with that stitch line. As always, press your fabric if it's all wrinkly. And now let's stitch down pattern piece number 5. Let's take the hoop out of the machine and then finger press pattern piece 5 right side up, and then give it a nice press right along that seam. I love this strawberry fabric. It makes me want some ice cream or something. So now let's stitch down placement for pattern piece number 6. So now if you have any fabric overhanging on the right side of that stitch line, just lift it up and trim it down. Now let's take pattern piece 6 and lay it right side down on top of our fabric, lining up the long edge with those stitches. And now let's stitch down pattern piece 6. Now flip pattern piece 6 right side up, and then let's just press down that seam. And now let's stitch down placement for pattern piece 7. So now we want to trim down anything below that stitch line. So it's just this overhang, this little triangle overhang over here. Just stitch that down. And then take your pattern piece 7 and lay it right side down on top of your fabric, lining up the long edge once again with that stitch line. And now let's stitch down pattern piece 7. Now flip up pattern piece 7 and let's press along that seam. Isn't this block gonna be cute? I love the colors this month. Ooh, I love them. So now let's stitch down placement for pattern piece 8. Once you have it stitched down, any overhang above that stitch line, just lift it up and trim it down. And then grab your final pattern piece 8 and lay that right side down on top of your fabric, lining up the long edge with the stitch line. And now stitch down pattern piece 8. So we have all of our pattern pieces stitched down. Let's lift up pattern piece 8 and just press that seam. And then if you'd like, give your whole block a quick press. Make sure everything is nice and flat. You don't want any tangles or anything occurring. This next step is going to stitch down the full outline of the block. This for me is going to create a 4.5 inch by 4.5 inch square. The final step is the quilting step. This is completely optional if you don't want to add quilting. I personally love the look of the quilting. It's very geometric today, so I'm going to go ahead and add that. All right, once you have your block finished, it kind of looks like a bit of a mess, which it's supposed to, so just remove it from your hoop. And then grab yourself a ruler. We're going to be cutting this out now. Now, if you see this very outer stitching, so the very, very outer stitching, that is the finished 4.5 inch by 4.5 inch block. So what I like to do is grab a ruler, and I'm going to line up the 4.5 inch and 4.5 inch grid mark lines with this very outer stitching bit on this bottom left corner. And so I'm actually lining up my grid mark on those actual stitches on the left and the bottom. And then I'm going to take my rotary cutter and I'm going to cut on the right and on the top, just like that. So then I can take my quilt block and rotate it. And then I'm going to line up the raw edges here on the left and the bottom with my 4.5 inch and 4.5 inch grid marks. And once again, I'm going to cut on the right and on the top. And there you go, this adorable little springtime strawberry quilt block. Oh my gosh, I love these colors so much. Alrighty, there we go. How cute is this? Here, let me give you a closer look. Look how festive and springtime that is. Those strawberries. I want like some sherbet. That's what I want, some sherbet. Sherbet. I want some ice cream. So again, the project for this 4 inch by 4 inch block is this basket right here, which I highly, highly, highly recommend. Please make this basket if you have the box this month. It is so cute, so easy, and I promise you're gonna love it. It feels so nice too. There's a feeling to quilted items that you just cannot compare with anything else. So having these quilt blocks, having them quilted, it's soft, it's comfy, but it also has structure to it. Highly, highly recommend. 10 out of 10. Love this basket. So thank you again to Me Time Delivered for sponsoring today's video and including me in this fun monthly project. I'm so excited every month to see what they have. I love seeing what kind of projects they have. I love when they have things like this, like bags, kind of structured things, like items like that. It makes me so excited. If you're interested in joining in on the perfectly pieced box, I will have a link down below for you to subscribe. I will also be having the Kimberbell Spring Bella box coming out on the channel soon. I'm so excited to unbox that. That will be an unboxing video, and then we're gonna have to discuss what projects we want to do from it. I've been very careful to not sneak peek anything, so I'm so excited to open it. It's one of my favorite things to do every year is open the Bella box. I hope you're having a great day. Have a fantastic rest of your week. Get out there and make something. Bye, guys.